The biggest mistake you can make is once you get to tour, is you think you need to be somebody else. Yeah. Remember why you're there. Your superpower, you told me, is your long game superpower. Don't lose that. So we got Sofia Garcia from the LPGA in today. She's from Paraguay, 25 years old. Last November, she won the Pan Am Games. She's got a little wrist injury. She says that she tends to overuse her hands, and she thinks it might be leading to some of the injuries she's having. And we're gonna see if we can help her. If you like videos like this and more content from MyTPI, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button below. We'll keep you notified anytime a new video launches. For our basic movement screen there, you did pretty good. I think the most obvious is you got some tightness in your lumbar spine there. It's hard for you to flex it, so you kind of figured out a way to get around that. And then left glute's a little weaker than the right one. That's pretty good. I'm gonna test a little power now, okay? A lot of times if we see something in your swing, I wanna know why you swing that way. Sometimes the reason you swing this way is because that's the way I move. This is telling me how you move. Yeah. All it does is helps me understand why you swing the way you swing. That was 15. Okay, that was 15.8. 15.2. See if you can beat that 15.8. Okay, that's 15.7. Okay, hold on. So once we get past the movement screen, I like to look at power. To me, this is one of the most important things of understanding your golf swing. And with Sofia, it was very clear the lower body had an obvious power weakness. If I told you LPGA average is 21, 16.1. You want the good news or the bad news? Bad news is that's below LPGA average. The good news is I lied. 21 is not the LPGA average. I just wanted to motivate you to see if you could. Average is 18, but that was pretty close. You just learn never trust me. That's the key right there. Oop, that was farther. If your upper body is very powerful, but your lower body is not, it wouldn't be a surprise to see you dominate your golf swing with your upper body. 8 times? Yeah. Now there's an interesting twist with Sofia's power testing. Her lower body strength was absolutely fantastic. It was actually way above LPGA average. Surprise you? Yes. Just so you know, for your weight, LPGA average is right around here. So it's good. So if a player has poor power, right, but their strength is high, the only thing that can be down is speed. You said I'm more of an accuracy, but I don't really hit it long, you said. Yeah. Is that true? Yeah. What do you think the most powerful part of your body is? Lower body, core, or upper body?
Lean a bit more towards the lower body.
It's definitely not the lower body. Okay. Your lower body is definitely the least powerful. See, power is this combination of speed and strength, right? The most powerful athletes can take heavy forces and move them really fast. Power equals force times velocity. If you're really strong, that's not power. If you're really fast, that's not power. If you're strong fast, that's power. Your power in your lower body is down a little bit. It's lower than I'd want. So it's either a strength problem or a speed problem. I test your strength. Your strength's high, which makes me think that this is a speed problem, not a strength problem. Yeah. One of the things that makes people stop exploding is injuries. So your second year call is when you tore your ACL. ACL injuries can make the brain very hesitant to do explosive stuff, which is where I'm coming up with these questions. Like, hey, since the ACL, I'm trying to protect it, so I haven't been very explosive. Like, but you don't feel that doesn't smell right at all. No. Most people don't understand is that your brain's #1 job is to protect you. And it does a lot of things automatically. And these are things that you don't perceive as an athlete. You don't feel and real can be very different. You might feel like everything's normal, but then when we go test your power output, it can be down 20, 30%, and you perceive that everything was normal. So regardless of what a player tells you, you listen, but you're always going to try and verify with data. So we're going to be looking to make sure that that power actually came back. All right, so we're going to go warm up, hitting some balls, just loosen up, and then we'll come back in the lab and capture the data once you're warm. I want to make sure I understand the 3 things that would be the ideal to help you achieve your goals. Yeah. You said #1 was take some of the stress off your hands because you feel like you're very handsy, make my swing more efficient, right? That was #1. And then you said if I was a statistician, I would tell you putting and then chipping. Yeah, those would be the 3 things. Okay. In the back of my mind, I'm thinking about this wrist injury because it's one of the #1 things that gets players out of the game. So I want to look for things that could put more stress on the wrist. If we're seeing excessive upper body action in the golf swing, excessive lag, breaking down of the wrist, chicken winging, scooping, any of these things that can put stress on the wrist, I'm sure as heck going to be looking for those. Man, you weren't kidding about your hands. You got, holy moly. Wow. So first reaction, it's pretty obvious. The club is lagging way more than the average bear. Now what I mean by lagging is that the angle between the shaft and her lead forearm, that angle is very acute. Look at the lag on that right there. This looks like a wrist-dominated power golf swing, which would match with, hey, my wrist bothers me in my golf swing. What's also going through my head is that in the physical screen, we noticed the lower body power was down and upper body power was high. So again, if I was her brain, it would make sense that maybe the brain would try and maximize the power in the upper body. Things like increasing the lag can actually help you get more power out of the most powerful part of your body. But that's something we really don't want her to do. We want her to equally use all parts of her body to take some of the stress off the wrist. I definitely need to see a couple chips. I want to see a couple chips.
Okay.
A lot of times one thing causes all three.
Yeah.
So like what's helping here or hurting here can also affect the other ones. So
Yeah.
that's very much a shallowing golf swing. So the club gets underneath the plane very easy when players lag. The number one death of chipping is too shallow. Just chip to that ball. I gotta film that too. All right, I'm ready. Let me get a face on one too. In the downswing, she drops the club underneath the plane, and it creates like a little loop in her swing. If the club gets too shallow underneath the plane, we tend to have bounce problems. It tends to maybe hit the ground too early, the attack angle, all those things that are really important for wedges go the opposite direction. And I can understand why she's struggling with finesse wedges. What was, when you met with Juli for the first time, what was the biggest change she did in your chipping?
Both short and I on the backswing and therefore I swell.
Since I know her coach, Julieta Granada, really well, I asked her, what did Juli tell you to do? Because Julieta's got a great finesse wedge game. So she's trying to keep you tall.
Things, yes.
And
To keep the stable, not so much.
And when you said she changed your posture, what was it more the dynamic posture or its setup?
More on the, over the ball.
Okay.
I think I was
You were a little-
sitting down a bit.
You were still squatty, a little
So
far
my
away?
weight was here.
And immediately I know where Julieta's going. So if you get a little taller, get a little closer, you're going to start to make the backswing a little steeper. So she's trying to prevent this loop, which I agree with 100%. Yeah, your loop is one of your strengths with your long game. It's what kills your chipping.
Okay.
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, yeah. We're going to go to the 3D bay now.
Double plate ready.
That's how it works. We're going to get 3 with a 6 iron.
Double plate ready.
Okay, one more. Now we're going to do driver.
Double plate ready.
I like you. She don't mess around.
Double plate ready.
All right, let me take a look real quick. I mean, your swing is so like, look at the lag. It's like you bounced the shaft off your right shoulder there. What I'm seeing on the data looks exactly like what you're doing. So at least it's verifying what I was seeing on video. So the first step here is, let's see if she's using her lower body. We saw that there was some power reduction in the gym, and I want to see, is there power reduction in her golf swing? And if she's not using her lower body, upper body is going to dominate. What are you guys working on?
Rotation.
Tell me, show me.
Goes. If you see the camera.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're saying as you come through that flipping over
Yes,
left of the
that
clock.
one. So sometimes it's more than that.
Okay. What she's looking at is the way she releases her hands. Sofia has that classic hands exit to the right of the target. So the club head needs to go left, so she flips it with her hands to try and get the ball back online.
Also, when I get nervous, it gets shorter.
It's
I
quick.
cannot play from here. Gotta give more space, even if I would get quicker.
Because when you get shorter, you feel like it closes faster and left becomes a bigger problem.
Yes, or you should push. Because I
Really?
stop.
Okay. So this rapid rotation of her hands through impact can lead to some serious inconsistency because now you have to time this axial rotation to line up with impact. Looks to me like your hands are exiting away.
Okay?
And if your club exited away, you'd just block it. You'd block every shot.
Yes.
So your brain's like, I ain't doing that. I'm gonna try and get this back over to bring the ball back over here, and that's how you prevent the block, right? So if you're like, oh, I got to get my club so it's not over here. I got to get my club over here. Well, if your hands are still over there, you'll never do that,
Yeah.
right? So the question is, why are your hands over there? If your hands are coming from behind your body,
Yeah.
okay, that makes versus if your hands are coming from here,
Yeah.
it's easier to exit this way. So the question is, okay, I just keep walking backwards. Okay, why are your hands coming from over here, right? I hear Sofia saying, my source of the problem here is this flipping of the hands. But I'm going to play the game, the why game. I'm going to say, well, why are your hands flipping, right? And she goes, well, the club's flipping because my hands are exiting to the right. Well, why are your hands exiting to the right? I was curious where you think the beginning was. You said right now I think there's something wrong in the backswing. So what's the problem in the backswing?
I guess flat.
Your hands are too low versus up above your head. So more of a flatter versus up right over here. Okay. So one of our great friends here at TPI is Jim Hardy, one of the best coaches on the planet. He wrote a book called The Playing Truth, and he talked about categorizing players into what are called one-plane or two-plane golf swings. If you take a player to the top of the backswing and you draw a line across the top of their shoulders, and then you draw a line right across their arm, you'll see some players, their shoulder plane and their arm plane match. That's what Jim called the one-plane golf swing. There's your arm plane, right? It matches your shoulder plane. You see that? Your shoulder plane's here and your arm plane's there.
Okay.
Right? Because on one plane, that's part of the problem. I'm trying to get more to a two-plane, arms higher. So we're speaking the same language? Okay. Now, Sofia has classically been one plane, and she's been working on getting her arms steeper for a lot of great reasons. Everything in her swing is shallow. So she's like, maybe if I steepen my arms, it can help steepen my path here, which makes sense. Both can win the Masters. Both can win the U.S. Open. So we got great players that are one plane. We got great players that are two plane. In general, I'd say two plane tend to hit the ball farther. So hands up higher tend to go. So there's a potential advantage for distance. You should be able to do one plane and not get the club laid off back behind you like that too. One plane or two plane, which one causes more flipping in the club? The answer is it shouldn't affect that. You should still be able to get the shaft on plane coming down. You can get some really good ball striking doing this. It really hurts finesse wedges chipping a lot.
Okay.
A lot. Like this is the biggest problem with your finesse wedges, not with your long game.
Okay.
Great wedge players, the hands might come inside, but the club stays outside. The club comes inside, the hands go outside. That's a shallowing mechanism, which would be death for Sofia. Anytime you're shallow, you need to try and steepen. If you're too steep, we try and shallow. You should never be doing anything shallow. If you got more shallow, you could give away shallow to every other player on the LPGA, you still have too much shallow. Yeah. You want to make things steep. The force plate is screaming at me on what needs to happen, and it's lower body.
Okay.
It's saying lower body's a problem. And it's saying there's no weight shift in your golf swing. You have a very unique swing.
Okay.
I like unique, right? There's lots of things that make you great. It's hard to change one without making this massive effect down the chain, right? So when you have somebody who's got a very unique golf swing, if you start changing one thing, it's usually not enough. Usually you have to change 5 or 6 things so that they all match up, and changing one thing could be like this entire domino board that just falls and can destroy the swing. Knowing that you have a very unique swing, I'm going to tell you what most players do, but I'm not sure if that's what you should do. What most players do is this. They go to the top of the backswing. On the downswing, the first thing we see is a weight shift. It's like a pitcher steps and then throws, right? Same thing in golf. The first thing we're going to see is we're going to see a weight shift. Then what you're going to do is you're going to do this. You're going to drop. Yeah. You're really good at this. Then the next thing we're going to see is we're going to see twist, and then we're going to see jump. Yeah. That's the normal we call kinetic sequence in golf, right? It's step, rock, twist, jump. So the first thing I do is I look at yours and I go, okay, do you do that? And the first thing that peaks is actually rock, the second one. See the yellow dot?
Yeah.
Okay, the second graph peaks first. The third graph peaks second.
Okay.
The fourth graph peaks third. And the first one peaks last.
Okay.
What's the first one again?
Right to left.
Right to left. So I look at this and I go, is she not weight shifting? Her lateral weight shift is last. Normally it's first. This is actually one of the first swings I've seen where lateral is last in the kinetic sequence. Weight shift from your back leg to your front leg is a form of shallowing. But if your initial weight shift isn't there, it's kind of hard to shallow, so either you're going to be steep or you're going to try and artificially make up for it with some of your other forces, and it looks to me like she's doing rock and roll. You get to the top and you rock, twist, jump, and then you start to push. Now, why is this important? Sometimes the lateral can help prevent this from dropping really, really early.
Okay.
A lot of great drivers of the golf ball don't have a lot of weight shift. It's actually not such a huge problem with the driver, but it can be more problem with the shorter clubs.
Okay.
Right, because shorter clubs, I need to get more downward attack angle.
Okay.
This creates the shallow upward attack angle that drivers and long clubs like. Up is good, that's what you want. You just don't want your wedge doing that. I always say the driver is a specialty shot. People think, oh, there's one golf swing. Finesse wedges, that's a different golf swing. Irons, it's a different golf swing. Now, what makes a driver unique? Well, the ball's on a tee. You're actually making contact after the low point of your swing, and you're actually swinging up, hitting the golf ball. If I drop shallow, and I'm down really low, and now I'm coming into contact swinging up, that actually works pretty good for a driver. Now, if you try and do that with an iron, we're gonna have some serious problems. But there's so many good things here that you're doing too. Like the timing in which you do these, normally we like to see the vertical right when shaft's vertical, and it's like right, like it's so good. Like the three things that you do are so good. If I were to forget the one, the red, the yellow dot, if I used this right here, it's the peak. See at the top, there's kind of a, you push, you just don't push a lot, and then you push more later, the top graph. If I were to just say, no, that's her push right there, then it's in order, and it's in sequence.
Yeah.
Problem is right there, you're pushing about 11% of your body weight. On average, most players push somewhere between 20 and 23% of their body weight. So it's half of what most players fight. You just don't have a lot of lateral. What did I not like in the gym? Lower body.
Yeah.
I can see your brain going, you know, that's not so powerful anyway. Let's just use our upper body. To me, it looks like a very upper body swing.
Okay.
Not a lot of lower body. I could see why if you started adding body in, it would get more power.
Yeah.
But I could see where your distance would be like, oh my God. Like hitting it 20 yards farther is great, unless it's 20 yards over the green.
Yeah.
That's not great, right? You got to know your yardages.
Yeah.
Here's what I know so far. You're really shallow, right? It's kind of a superpower for your long game. You lag it like crazy. You probably get a lot of speed from there. I believe that superpower has probably created some damage to your wrist. You probably hurt your wrist because you use it so much.
Yeah.
I think the shallow gets you big time in trouble with your chipping, right? You can't be, the greatest chippers in the world are steep. From a distance power standpoint, you got rid of your weight shift. So you're just more of a rock, twist, jump player versus a weight shift. But if we add weight shift, I'm nervous it might even make you more shallow. So I want to make sure that doesn't happen.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to do a little 3D thing on you first. You with me so far?
Yeah.
I want to look a little deeper at the lower body. I want to look at the kinematics, not the kinetics. The kinetics are the forces. The kinematics is the motion of the lower body. If the lower body's not weight shifting, sometimes it's not doing other things too. Maybe it's not rotating properly. Maybe it's not bending or tilting properly. And I want to look to see if there's any other complications there that we need to be aware of. We can definitely take some of the stress off your hands by getting your lower body a little more involved.
Yeah.
I just don't know if doing that in the middle of the season is smart.
Double plate ready.
You can really see the drop in the hands going out. Now this is why I like doing 3D, because this showed me something that wasn't so obvious. Now with Sofia, she had so much lag and shallowing with the club, I think it was kind of distracting me from her lower body, because I was like, the last thing in the world you'd want to do is shallow more with your lower body. We get on the 3D, and not only is the pelvis not weight shifting properly, it's actually moving 3 inches towards the golf ball. The 3D is yelling at me. Lower body's the problem. Okay, so it confirms what we were thinking, and we saw the force plate kind of told us that. It also shed light on a little bit of some of the why. If you are going to, let's say, use your upper body more, you need to have a very good stable platform to do this on.
Okay.
Your lower body, to me, just looks like it wasn't doing anything. It looks like it's just, but it is actually doing something.
Okay.
And it's doing something I don't want it to do.
Okay.
You do a very common characteristic called early extension. Have you heard of early extension?
Yeah.
And this is one of those where you'd say, oh, this is Captain Obvious. We always look for early extension, right? This is one of the most common swing characteristics of elite players. Their lower body moves closer to the golf ball during the downswing. It's a great shallowing mechanism. You take that 3-inch early extension, move towards the golf ball with the way she lags, well, now the why game we talked about before is starting to make sense. For the next 10 years in your career, we should work on getting you a little steeper. Notice I didn't say the next 10 weeks, because that way you'll be able to still play, compete, and it won't be this dramatic change, right? The problem you're getting into is when the club gets underneath, you get shallow, your hands go out this way, and you know if you do that, you're going to block, so you flip the club over this way to try and get over here, and that's a lot of stress on your hands. But I got players that, like Sergio, that are over here, and he still does a great job exiting hands. I'm like, why are your hands going that way? It didn't seem so obvious on video, but on 3D it was a big bright light. If I were to look at the lower body in the golf swing, most players, lower body turns, right? Doesn't go forward, doesn't go backwards, it just kind of turns. And on the downswing, if anything, the lower body goes that way. It goes back, creates space for your hands to come in and clear.
Yeah.
Yours goes this way. And now the hands have no place to go, so they go this way, and you go. Why is the club flipping? Because your hands are exiting to the right. Why are your hands exiting to the right? Well, your lower body is invading the space, so there's nowhere else for the hands to go. This is flexed, this is extended. Your hips are early extending towards the ball. See this green line right here?
Yeah.
Okay, that green line. See how it's just getting more and more positive?
Yeah.
As it goes up, your butt is moving towards the golf ball.
Okay.
As it goes down, you're moving away from the golf ball. Most players, as they come from the top of the backswing impact, it goes down. They get to the top of the backswing, and they move away, they create space. You get here and you keep moving forward. There's a box right here. I call it the cigar box. The only thing allowed in the cigar box is the handle and your hands, right? If your whole pelvis invades the box, where are your hands going? They're going that way. Hands are going this way. But now, if you do that enough, you're just going to block it. So sooner or later, you're going to go enough, and you're going this way. So I think if we can get your pelvis to stop getting in the way of your hands are going to be like, thank you, and they can do more work. But maybe not as stressful as work.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Now, with that said, I would love during the off season for you to experiment trying to use your lower body as in a power producer to see if you can get distance and see if you can figure out your distances.
Yeah.
I just don't think you should do it during the season.
Okay.
For example, Patrick Harrington, who's like dominating the Champions Tour right now. From setup to address, he moves back 1 inch. You set up with the ball right here. At impact, it's now 3 inches over here. Now, if you don't do something, you're going to hit the hosel. So everything is trying to figure out how to get back to the center of the face.
Okay.
And by the way, if you do that with chipping, you absolutely cannot early extend in chipping. I think your full swing efficiency and chipping problems are the same. What does early extents do? It shallows. What's death with finesse wedges? Shallowing, right? She's already too shallow. If you shallow, finesse wedges are not going to work out really well. So now, you should be asking me a question. What's the question now?
Pardon?
No, how do you stop early extending? That should be your question, right? do you know how to do that? No. If I just said stop doing that, what would you do? How would you fix it? Early extension is one of the most common, if not the most common mistake with professional players, and you would think that everybody knows about this, I should be able to correct this, but it can be very challenging. On the downswing, the middle of your lower body follows this line. Do your normal swing. Come towards me, all the way to impact. Your body comes towards me, comes this way. Okay. It actually moves to the point where you've actually moved 3 inches this way.
Yeah.
Go to the top of your backswing. The most efficient ball strikers, they go down that line.
Okay.
Lower body goes down that line.
Okay.
Go to the top of your backswing again. We call it back 45. In transition, the lower body actually moves in that direction with the best players in the world. That sets up the correct shallowing early so you can steepen late in your golf swing. Now notice, what does that do to the club? Shallow or steep?
Let's stay.
It steepens,
Okay.
right? If you go towards me, what does it do?
It gets even
We
more
can't
fine
shallow.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing. You're shallowing shallow.
Okay.
We got to get steeper,
Okay.
okay? So the lower body doesn't have to be the power generator.
Yeah.
It just can't create more shallow, which is what it's doing.
Okay.
Now the mechanics are starting to match with the injury. We've got somebody here who's early extending, hands are going outside. Instead of just blocking, she's flipping and hinging more. That puts a tremendous stress on the wrist. We've got to get her to use more of her lower body, not only for control of ball flight, but to control this TFCC injury. This is 10,000 volts. If you touch it, you're dead. Now you just created space.
Yeah.
Okay, do it again. Have you ever tried something like that?
Not really.
I think this is your drill.
Okay.
Set up like you're going to hit. Imagine there's an electric fence here. Okay. Don't hit it on the downswing. Can I just watch you hit a couple just like that? Just hit into the net right here. It's weird, right?
Yeah.
Keep going. Hit a couple.
I hit the middle of the ball.
You just showed me what I wanted to see. Set up like you're going to hit to that ball. Okay, let me in there. Holy crap. That's how far you are from the ball?
Yeah.
I want you to do what I just did. Okay, stand tall, eyes closed. Now
Okay.
set up. Do you know you're like a club farther away from the ball than you should be? Do you know that?
No.
Wow, okay. Now it's all making sense. We're still playing the why game here, right? So we started with, okay, I'm flipping too much. All right, well, maybe you're flipping because your hands are going to the right. Okay, why are your hands going to the right? Oh, it's because your lower body's moving forward. Okay, why is your lower body moving forward? Well, now we're getting to the point where like, well, maybe she's too far away from the golf ball. You're doing what's called a negative feedback. You're basically, you're getting some feedback, right? That you're moving this way, right? You might occasionally block, maybe even hit towards the heel. So instinctively, you move farther away. But as you move farther away, what do you have to do more now? You have to keep moving. You have to keep doing this, which just keeps feeding the problem. It's this negative loop that keeps getting worse. To fix this, you actually have to get so close that if you do this, you're going to shank it. I'm 100% confident you need to move your lower body this way. But if you do it from where you're setting up right now, you're going to miss the golf ball.
Okay.
You're going to do this. You're going to go, I missed it. because you're so far away. I almost want you to get like uncomfortable. You're going to create space so that you don't shank it. Yes. That was already a better strike than the one before.
Yes.
Because now you hit the center of the club instead of hitting the toe. I think we should go hit some on the grass so you can feel the difference. You want to do that? So I just want you to feel the turf with getting that close and how weird that feels. That doesn't look close at all, just so you know. I'm not saying get closer, but it feels crazy close to you. That looks normal. That was really good. So the setup thought is just get close, but stay athletic. And then the swing thought is make sure your lower body gets out of the way. Yeah, that was great. Ball position and distance to the ball are not very obvious to most players. Little micro changes can be big changes in ball flight, right? And these are things that we're consistently monitoring. We even have caddies check these all the time because it's hard for players to see. Hold on, don't move. I want to see. I'm 6 feet tall. I should be further away, right?
Yeah. Now I was closer.
I mean, I would have to, that is crazy. What's on your toe line?
Probably the fingers right now.
I think we should try butt end of the club on toe line. If you look down and your elbows are over the toe line, you're too far away. You get to where the butt end of the club's on the toe line, we're close.
Okay.
Let me see you hit a couple like that. Distance from the ball, it can just creep into your game over a year or two. You're just slowly getting farther and farther away and you don't realize it's happened.
I don't hit that shape hitting that long.
I was hoping you were going to pick up. We just figured out the entire problem with Sofia.
Okay.
I told her it's her short game coach. That's the problem.
Oh. I didn't say that. I figured you would.
I said, no matter what happens, we're just going to blame it all on Julieta. I just want to make this really clear. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so did we move you closer to the ball at one point?
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, Julieta's the problem. I told you. See, you got Julieta's swing in here. So she's literally a club length, like a club face length farther than she should be. She basically, what happens is she early extends 3 inches on the downswing. Lower body goes towards the ball, so the hands have nowhere to go, so they travel away from her body, and then she flips the club around, right? So what I told her to do is, I'm like, I'm not going to show you how to really make your lower body be the driver in the swing, but I'm going to sure as hell try and make sure your lower body doesn't get in the way of the driver of your hands. I'm just telling her to get closer and move her butt away, create some space.
Must be a Paraguayan water.
Yeah, exactly. It's the water in Paraguay. That's what's kind of. And then, but then she said, you know, statistically, full swing is her strength. Her biggest problem is short game, and putting and chipping. Well, listen, if you go shallow on chipping, we know what that's going to do, right? So this is the same problem, right? If she said that you kind of saw that she was going down and then going up. That's her early extending, getting shallow with the wedge. So I would do all of the steepening things. I get her closer, get the laser beam pointing in front. Does that make sense? Anything there?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Just while it's fresh, I wanted you to know.
Appreciate it, Greg.
We
I'm
won't-
so glad that you spend time with her. She's a great player. So.
See you, Joey.
Bye.
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 So we had a great day here with Sofia. All of us can learn from this. When you see a problem, like flipping the club, it might be as simple as your hands are just flipping too much, but it could be a lot deeper down the chain of why this is happening. And it's so important to keep digging and trying to find that cause so that players aren't searching and they're working on the right things. That gets exciting to a player. It wasn't me, I wasn't mental, there was something wrong. Like I just didn't realize that. So you also start to get hope and you go, now if I change this could be dramatic change. And the answer is, yeah, that's right. It could be dramatic. This could be what keeps you playing for the next 20 years versus only the next 2 years. And the most important thing here is that at least Sofia now knows what the problem is. I don't think players need all the data and understand all the information, but they need to know enough so that they don't search. Searching is one of the worst things with players. When they have that confidence, they know what's creating their golf swing, they know what to work on, things just get better really quick. So if you guys like content like this and you want to see more, please hit the subscribe and like button below.